Hey guys, this is EJ Holland with the Wolverine.com, and Michigan has scored another big win on the recruiting trail. Before we talk about the newest member of the 2024 recruiting class, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to the Wolverine.com today for just $29.99 until August 31st of this year. That gets you premium insider recruiting information, team information, basketball, transfer portal, which has been extremely active, all for just $29.99 until August 31st. Come join more than 8,000 unique individual Michigan fans over on the Fort message board. Interact, talk about everything Michigan athletics, and so much more. Again, for just $29.99 until August 31st. That gets you through the spring evaluation period, June official visits, the transfer portal, Wild West, Michigan fall practices. So make sure to sign up today. Again, just $29.99 until August 31st of this year. Also, like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is completely free. All right, guys. Michigan scored another win on the recruiting trail. This time, it comes from four-star defensive lineman Jerod Smith out of Cheshire Academy in Connecticut, one of the premier Connecticut boarding schools. And this one kind of came out of left field last week, so I got the tip that Jerod Smith was trending towards Michigan, made a couple calls, got it confirmed, and put in a prediction. Now, I say it kind of came out of left field because, yes, Smith had made a visit to Michigan in the offseason, but Notre Dame was considered the heavy favorite here up until even after I put in a prediction. So, again, Notre Dame had the lead for quite some time. All the crystal balls and predictions were on the Irish for the last several months, I think since like November or December of last year. It kind of seemed like Notre Dame had Jerod Smith penciled in their 2024 recruiting class. And it just seemed like a matter of time for them. It was like a, win, not if situation. Then Michigan turned it around. I mean, that unofficial visit was tremendous. The Wolverines really knocked it out of the park, specifically defensive line coach Mike Elston, who delivers a Tank Davis shot to the body with his recruiting win over his former team. I mean, for Elston to completely overcome what seemed like a huge Notre Dame lead on the visit by making an impression on Smith and his family. I mean, just so much kudos to him. But Elston also flew to Connecticut on the first day of this spring evaluation period, which was last Monday, and checked in on Smith, talked to his high school coaches, and that really helped as well. In fact, I put in a prediction the following day. So I think Elston's visit to Connecticut definitely helped. And Elston has always been tied with the Connecticut boarding schools. He has great relationships across the board at all those schools. He's very, very well respected from his time at Notre Dame. So I think Elston did a phenomenal job in this recruitment. It was one of the best recruiting wins he's had since joining the Michigan staff. And I think you're seeing some of those recruiting chops that I wrote about earlier when Michigan initially hired Elston. This is a guy, that I have heard from several trusted people in the recruiting world that have described him as one of the best evaluators of talent in the country, and also a great relationship builder. And I was also, as you guys know, briefly on the Notre Dame beat for like 3 months, and even there, it was pretty clear that Mike Elston was a standout. So he did a fantastic job in this recruitment. And like I said, Notre Dame was completely caught off guard because, like I said, even after I put in the prediction for Smith to land at Michigan, no other Michigan writers joined me for a little while. And there's the Notre Dame writers that kind of stuck to their guns and were like, no, Notre Dame still leads here. And then obviously the following day is when, everybody kind of started to put in those picks for Michigan, and the Notre Dame pick magically disappeared elsewhere. So what a win for Michigan. What a win for Mike Elston. Just fantastic to knock out Notre Dame in this recruitment, especially after last cycle where Notre Dame built up a bunch of hype, and it was Freeman's first year and it seemed like the hype train was at an all-time high. It looked like Michigan couldn't buy a recruiting win against Notre Dame last cycle. So for them to do it this cycle in this type of fashion with a four-star player in Jerod Smith, I think it shows that Michigan has really turned it around on the recruiting trail after a disappointing 2023 class. And, when you look at Smith as a player, he's 6'2.5", 255 pounds. Not necessarily the ideal measurables when you look at Michigan's defensive scheme, but they see him adding a lot of weight. That's their goal with Smith, is to pack on the pounds. They actually see him in the same mold as Michigan star defensive lineman Chris Jenkins, who, as you guys may remember, was a very light, little undersized defensive lineman at the high school level, playing for a DMV powerhouse in Only Good Counsel. And so I think with Jenkins, he was always a really, really good football player at the high school level, but needed development in that strength and conditioning program. Well, you have Ben Herbert at Michigan, obviously one of the best strength and conditioning coaches in the country, if not the best. He was able to completely transform Jenkins' body. Jenkins obviously up to 300 pounds or whatever he's at now. I mean, he has added so much weight. And they're looking at the same path with Smith, who is already heavier than Jenkins was when he was a senior at Good Counsel. But Smith, also a very, very good high school player, plays against really good competition in that Connecticut boarding school league. Has the kind of, not necessarily identical, but has a very similar frame to Jenkins. So I think he's a guy that's going to be in that 300-pound range by, the time he's a junior at Michigan, or even a sophomore at Michigan. Like I said, he already weighs more than Jenkins did as a senior. So they see him following that exact same path. What Jenkins does at Michigan from a scheme standpoint is exactly the path they see for Smith once he arrives at Michigan. And obviously landing Jerod Smith could help with Jacob Smith. So his twin brother, Jacob Smith, is a four-star edge. He is a priority on a pass rusher board that has a lot of big names. So getting Jerod Smith on board could definitely help with his brother Jacob, who is going to make his official visit to Michigan in June and take some other OVs before making a final decision. But Jerod Smith is on board, and a very, very good win for Michigan. We'll have more recruiting coverage on the Jerod Smith commitment over at thewolverine.com for just $29.99 until August 31st. Like this video, subscribe. It is completely free on this YouTube channel. Thanks again, guys.